everybody, my name is Alex Askeroff and I run the Sew A Lot site for antique sewing machine history. I also write the On the Road series for Amazon, and best of all I do the Sewing Machine Pioneer series again on Amazon. If you're looking for presents or anything like that, they are just brilliant. So what I want to show you today is, a lot of people have asked me, how do you mount these machines onto little domestic motors? Now what I'm going to show you today is a very simple technique and explain what I've done. But surprisingly enough, a little domestic motor, because of the tiny pulley, will drive a fully industrial machine. It's not going to be as fast, but it will work. And when I'm testing machines that come to me for repair, I'll put them on something like this. And what I'm going to show you today is the hat machines. I've got these, so they're the perfect example. Now, look at what I've done here. This is just a piece of wood. This is a simple cutting board. You can use any piece of wood, and I've put it on a couple of other bits of wood, basically so I can get underneath and tighten up the wing nut to tighten the machine down on it. And on the back here I've mounted a very simple domestic motor. Now this is a YDK motor. I love YDK because they are ultra reliable motors, but there's hundreds of other makes available. If you want a little domestic motor, whichever country you're in, pop down to your local sewing machine shop, because they'll have exactly the right one, exactly the right voltage. Okay, now interestingly, the hat machines turn clockwise. Most machines turn anti-clockwise, but the hat machines turn clockwise. So what I do is I make up a belt. You can buy polyurethane rubber like this of any length. You can buy a couple of meters of it, you cut it, you heat it, you stick it together, and then you've got a belt the perfect length. But if I want the machine to go anti-clockwise, which is the standard motors will turn anti-clockwise, I'll do it like that. If I want the machine to turn clockwise, I simply cross the belt. Now they've been crossing belts like this since the early Victorian times. The most famous one is the Taylor cross belt, where they do exactly the same thing, but it's a leather belt. And incidentally, you can use any type of belt you want. You can use tooth belts, you can use leather belts. The motor at the back here is just mounted on a basic bracket, okay? So it's just a basic L-shaped bracket. I've got one with a single hole because I like to be able to adjust the motor for the different heads that I'm plonking on here. But you can just use a couple of L brackets, bung them on there, screw them down, and then this little hole there, put 2 screws through there, and that holds your motor. And then you can mount it any way you want. Many of the hat machines. And here we go, just move this, get my foot pedal. And here we go. And the machine will just go round and round and round. Obviously with an industrial motor, it's going to be dramatically faster. But these little motors can chug away. And the worst that happens, if after a year you burn the motor out, you just drop another one on. So it's not an expensive thing. So I just thought I'd show you that. And then I'm going to talk a bit about this 2456, because now that I've got it out, I've got a few little hat machines. I might as well do the YouTube before I put it on for sale. 2456 was one of the mainstay machines for the hat industry, but it was used for anything where you wanted a lovely narrow free arm, and it was a sort of a flatbed and a free arm all in one. Of course this does the basic chain stitch used in the caps and everything, and let me just show you it in action. The machine will do from 4 to 12 stitches per inch, so it will do a very large stitch down to a quite small stitch. So 4 stitches per inch, you think that's big, isn't it? So that's the difference between a domestic and an industrial. And of course when you're doing caps or anything like that, you've got this beautiful sort of area. It's a bit difficult to describe, but you can just get everything all the way around it. Of course all the machines were modified by the particular, you know, especially in Luton, each machine would be made for a specific job. And what this machine has, which is really interesting, I'll just show you this, just get this out of the way and show you, it comes with a separate little binder. So we're going to put that on, sorry, a little taping machine for doing this sort of stuff. So I'm just going to show you. I'm going to put that on and show you how that works. I've got it set up with the 10mm taper, and we'll show you how it works. This is just a little accessory that has been added at some time, and it just comes off with a single screw. So you can use it with it if it's useful, or you just forget about it. It's got a magnetic guide for keeping the tape to the thing, and it's got a little adjuster there, but it's very, very simple. On the machine itself, you have limited adjustment. You've got the stitch length, you've got a little spanner that comes with it for adjusting the stitch length. You've got the pressure, and again, you don't hardly ever touch that. Quite often that seizes up, because once they get it right, they never touch it. You've got the tension adjustment, very important to get a nice stitch. So depending on what fabric you're doing, you might adjust that a little way. And you've got the threading up, and the threading up is quite simple but important. So it goes round the tension unit, and then it comes up to the needle bar, and then it goes down on the side here, if you look up to the side, and it goes just down to the needle. And incidentally, it uses B27 needles or 24x1 needles, and they're both available, so that's really useful that you can get needles in different sizes for this machine. And don't forget, although it's small, this baby's an industrial, and it will work for a living, or it will look, you know, just brilliant on a shelf as a part of our industrial heritage. So here's the taper in action. And it's just going to sew rows and rows of this. I'm not really sure what job they had in mind when they did this, but it's yeah, it could be useful, or it just comes off with one screw. So that's it. I hope you like it, and don't forget to check out my books on Amazon. There's a few little parts that come with this: needles, spanners, adjustment, threading, bits like that. Bye for now.